your NEFCO meetings are as far away as my not call. Okay.
Really? I thought those were yours.
Well, I think mine was like $36. Yours
Yes,
is
'cause
30.
you're on
44.
So
Yeah,
it's
I was just looking. I'm like, and yesterday was crazy. They
well,
had,
that's not me, that's Vicky. I just wanted her alternate. So,
yeah,
no.
I know, but I'm
No.
saying NEFCO. Well, yesterday, glad I came back, is they had 3 parts of 44 tore up that they're doing between Portage and Johnson County.
That sucks.
Hello.
Hi, Joanne.
Hey, Joanne.
Hello.
We had Pretty Glen Dam mentioned to us today. I thought, oh yeah, that.
Say what?
Pretty Glen Dam.
The dam?
Oh, the dam thing.
Yeah, it's been a bad subject for a long time, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Or a damn subject for a long time, maybe
That's
that's a
an
better way to
awful
put it.
thing that I hadn't thought about it for a while. That's not good.
Well, with everything else that's going on, it's kind of hard to concentrate on that, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Got the.
I have a couple things to talk about too. You wanna do that before we go into exec session, or you wanna do the exec session first,
No,
whichever?
we can do the things first.
Okay.
Yeah.
I took it upon myself after I conferred with Chris Maduri to fix the Hope Village contract, to get everybody's signatures, Janet's, yours, and everyone's, and, so, I have this, I'd like you guys to sign it today so that I can get it in, because they have,
Is it different than what we had in our packets? Do we need to pull it? Because there was a.
there's a resolution in it, that I did that today so we could do everything today.
Okay.
Poor Mr. St. John and those people have been providing services since April 1st. And I promised him when I called him that I would try to do whatever I could to rush it through, since the sheriff's office just,
Do they know how to submit this now, Joanne?
you know, I don't know. I mean, I try really hard to get things across without being,
Disrespectful?
yeah. And, you know, sometimes it's a little bit challenging with the people in charge, so, but
Nice.
what was really strange today was that I got an email from Pete, and it was a copy with the sheriff's signature on it. Cause Mr. St. John must have sent them that too, and I just said, I got it. He said, you want this to do the resolution? I said, I already got the resolution ready for the board, so, but I don't it's hard for me to understand why they would allow services to go on for so long without trying to get something put in place to pay a person. That's the part that bothers me, because those are our vendors that we deal with everyone. It's not just that department. Job and Family will deal with them and others, and I don't like us to get a bad name with
Do not pay.
being late payers.
Yeah.
You know, it's challenging enough sometimes to get things through quickly because we're only paying bills once a month, but, so, I talked with Chris Maduri and I said, look, I said, I know you were still doing this review, I said, but it isn't gonna hurt if we have these signatures.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the normal process, and he said, correct, so let's just do it, and so that's why I got it all fixed up.
Okay.
And I have the sheriff's one down. You can, yes, no problem, I just wanna get it today
You know, we
because
can put it in. This
I wanna
one.
release it,
I'll just stick it in
hopefully.
there.
Now, do we know, is that money coming out of the commissary funds?
It is,
Okay.
yeah, that's
That
where
was
I
my
encumbered the money.
understanding. Okay.
Right, I encumbered the money out of there because, that's where they wanted it originally to come
Right.
from, so that
I'm
didn't
thinking
change.
that might have had something, Joanne, to do with why they didn't submit some kind of paperwork, because I think they think that that money just, I mean, you don't have to do anything.
I know, it's, like I said, you know, you have conversations and you try, but sometimes it falls on
Doesn't
deaf
get through,
ears.
yeah.
And that's okay, I repeat, it's okay, I don't mind. The other thing that I had today too was, I think last meeting, we had a resolution on to lease a vehicle for
Mhm.
Job and Family Services, it was the Kia Sedona.
Yeah.
And I had checked to see if there were any other models available that they could possibly look at. I'm not sure when the original look-see, if they only had the one option or if there were multiples. But they came back to me with a 2019 Dodge Caravan, which actually was like $9 a month cheaper
Oh, right.
than the Sedona was gonna be. So
Wow.
if we can, I'd like to replace that today. And
Sure.
do you have a copy of the
Yes,
resolutions? I brought
yes,
some, so
yes.
that would be
Yeah.
something to add at the end,
Yes.
if you would.
Okay.
That's great, Joanne. I'm glad to also see we're doing an American.
Yeah. Well, and
And then it's a
I
cost savings.
verified everything with Kelly Jo, and she doesn't, she was fine,
Yeah.
save whatever money we can, right? All right, so those were the two things that I had. I can give you quickly what my version of the update for Hills Pond is.
It's also known, just so Kathleen knows.
Or Pretty Glen,
It
Hills
has two
Pond.
names.
And I wanted to make sure you had time to
Yeah.
give us an update, but if you're good to go,
Well, I can give you
great.
this much as to where it was
Where
left
we
and
are.
why it was left the way it was. We had talked about, well, first, let me back up. ODNR had done their studies. Every 5 years they come out and they do their study of what's wrong with it. Well, the last study that we got, it had growth, it had actually things inside that needed to be repaired. So we had an engineering firm do a study, and they came back with, and don't quote me on the amounts because that's what I would need to get ideally, but over $1 million to fix it, and a little bit less if we got some grants to actually remove it. Well, then it kind of became contentious with some of the people living around there, and I think there are 6 homes that we were going to have to try to get easements from if we were going to take it out, because they believe that that's the betterment of their property, they don't wanna see it be taken out. Our insurance company would love us not to own a dam because of all the risks involved with it. So the last thing that I have recalled in my memory that we were gonna do is I was going to see how much the appraiser was going to charge us to do the appraisals for those
Easements.
6 homes for those easements. That particular appraiser that we use that does commercial work had an eye problem at the time that he was doctoring with, and he couldn't do it for a while. Well, then about that same time, up came the jail project, and up came the motor pool closure, and it got away from me, I'll be honest. So at this juncture, I need to tell you guys need to tell me which way we're gonna move for sure. Are we taking it out?
Yes.
Or are we gonna fix it? And then that way I'll get a hold of Mr. Emig, I'm sure he's doing better now, and try to,
I thought that the cost was like, to repair it was like 1.5 million, to remove it was 1.6, but we would qualify for grants for removal.
certain ones.
We could not get grants for repairs.
Correct.
Is what I remember.
Yeah, and at one point, I had brought back, quotes that we had obtained just to cut the brush down and things that they were, some simpler things that we could get done. And we didn't fund that at the time, so I'm sure if they come out and do a cursory look this year, they're gonna, say again, what are you guys doing? But
Yeah, cause I drove by it the other day and there's a bunch of, how the branches get
Yeah.
caught up, they're starting to
I'm
get
sure
caught up
I'm
again.
sure it's overgrown again, I mean, that stuff doesn't ever go away,
Where is
so.
it?
I'm sorry.
Where is this?
532 is your going into Talmadge there.
Morganworth. Well, Talmadge, Morganworth,
And
Yeah,
we
out of
own
Mogador into.
The whole,
just the dam.
The dam part.
Akron owns the rest.
Now, Joanne, what if we have trouble getting easements? I mean, do they have a choice? If they don't give us an easement, then where does that leave us?
What, I believe eminent domain.
Eminent domain.
It makes it easier if they volunteer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't stop the project.
That
but
was,
it
that
makes
was, I know that was always a concern on the other side, cause
Yeah.
you'd like to try to do it
Sure.
one way first, so.
so we need easements.
From the property owners that actually abut into the dam, so that
And
the
get
work can be
access
done
to it.
to take it out. At that point, that was the idea,
Do we need
was the removal
easements
of
to
versus
repair?
fixing it. Not so much, well, the repairing, we according to, I think, our engineer, I think we were still gonna have to have an easement to go on their portion
If
of
we
it.
had to buy a piece, it's a teeny tiny sliver, but because to repair it, it flares it out a little more, and I think there was one corner that was gonna cut into a gentleman's property. But for the work, we still need easements, conservation easements to go into it.
So we need easements
Either
either
way, we're
way,
gonna have
Either
but we
way.
think that they'll be more cooperative in giving the easements on the repair rather than a remove.
In terms of the,
The
Well-
property owners.
actually, there's two property owners, I believe, who do wanna see it go because it's more a swamp than a lake, particularly towards the dam. The biggest outcry is from the people who don't even live on the water, but further up in that,
Housing
what's it called,
development.
Thousand Springs or whatever. There's 50 houses and they all believe they have lake property that's worth so much because of it, but some of the people that we talk to that are right on the lake, it is an annoyance because it smells during the summer and all those type of things. So I don't, out of the 7, we may have trouble with some, but it's not gonna be all
But
trouble. Conversely, then those people who want it out are gonna give you trouble if you repair it.
But
That's all
here,
I'm trying to
here's
say.
Well, and
the
then-
bigger caveat is Tusta
I
bought the
was
old
just gonna
golf
say-
course.
I was just gonna
And
bring them
he
up.
was advertising those as,
Lakefront
lakefront
property.
properties.
Yeah.
And he had absolutely no interest
Helping
in
us.
helping with it. We went to all the property owners to see if they would share or create an association to help with the dam. No one wants it. And even the fuel tank farm, you know.
We got that
Sunoco.
fixed so that, was it the Montador Fire Department or whoever?
Suffield.
The
in
suppression.
particular.
Suffield can
Town
take care of whatever that would happen there.
They'll actually have better water pumping ability after than they do right now with the solution. we
Well,
have.
I think we had made the decision to take it out because of the grant money and everything. Now, what's our timeline to apply for those grants or whatever?
Well, we have to I would have to go back out and look and see what's available anymore, and Sean would know that without having us to do much work. I can
Okay.
contact him again, and see what's available.
I thought this came up because we had received some state funding, or,
No, that wasn't specifically for the dam. We received the state's one-time MCU allotment. It happened to match what our dam estimates were, and so we just said, oh, good, we're not gonna touch that money, and that is what we're spending the dam out of. What I was bringing to you today was the state had given that as emergency purposes. We don't want it to sit too much longer without having done anything with it. If we're going to proceed with the dam within the next year or two, we're fine to continue leaving it there and start encumbering dam items against it. If the dam is going to sit longer, we need to empty that money, use it for something else, and then budget the dam for
Well,
normal processing.
And there's the problem with us having a huge carryover, and what people don't understand is that money is earmarked for
Right.
stuff, but they just see our carryover.
And think it's available for anything.
But we did, I mean, we've alluded to the fact, I think, that we're gonna tear it out, but in terms of actually saying, yes, proceed and begin marching on it, not marching, but going on these people's property and saying, we're tearing it down, we need your easements, and letting that word spread, that has never been officially committed to, and that's why
Okay.
we're kinda hanging out at this step now. Which way do you want us to proceed with, because we've gone as far as we can under both, trying
Okay.
to navigate both streams. And, so we just need the board to say for sure yes or no, either tear it down or fix it, so that we know what direction to continue.
Well, I guess we need to know the amount of grant money that's out there because obviously it's probably changed.
Well, the night, again, that,
I thought we were gonna.
you are not
apply
gonna, you're
for
not
it.
gonna get any money to repair, that's very clear.
Right.
It's a recreational dam, which means there's absolutely no state funding. The other side of it is a class 2 because of 532 there, which means we have to make the second to the highest level of stringency in terms of safety and all those other type of things.
Yeah.
So the recreational people won't fund these level of activities, and normal dams that fall under tier 2, you absolutely can't get it funded if they're recreational. There absolutely is no money if we do it.
But-
To apply for tearing out, most of your money is going to come in the conservation portion of the
Yes.
project, which means you already have to have proceeded with design plans at least on your tear